Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, there lived a beautiful princess named Snow White. Her skin was as white as snow, her lips as red as blood, and her hair as black as ebony. Snow White's beauty made her stepmother, the queen, incredibly jealous. The queen possessed a magical mirror that she would consult daily, asking, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" Each time the mirror would reply, "You, my queen, are fair, it's true. But Snow White is even fairer than you." Furious with envy, the queen ordered a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and kill her. The huntsman, however, could not bring himself to harm the innocent girl. Instead, he told her to flee and never return. Snow White ran deep into the forest, terrified and alone. After wandering for hours, she stumbled upon a tiny cottage. Exhausted, she entered and found it to be the home of 7 dwarfs. They were kind and welcomed her, offering her a place to stay in exchange for her help with household chores. Grateful, Snow White agreed, and soon the cottage was filled with laughter and joy. Meanwhile, the queen discovered that Snow White was still alive. Enraged, she disguised herself as an old peddler woman and visited the cottage. She offered Snow White a beautiful poisoned apple. Trusting the woman, Snow White took a bite and immediately fell to the ground, lifeless. When the dwarfs returned home, they were heartbroken to find Snow White. They placed her in a glass coffin, mourning their beloved friend. One day, a handsome prince happened upon the cottage. He was captivated by Snow White's beauty and kissed her gently. The kiss broke the spell, and Snow White awoke. Overjoyed, the dwarfs celebrated, and the prince invited Snow White to his castle. The wicked queen, upon learning that Snow White was alive, was furious. In a final attempt to destroy her, she donned a new disguise and tried to kill Snow White again, but the dwarfs thwarted her plan. In the end, the queen fell to her own wickedness and was defeated. Snow White and the prince were married in a grand ceremony, and they lived happily ever after, surrounded by love and friendship.
Finn the fox stumbled over a hidden root, scattering berries into the cool night air. "My gift for clumsiness strikes again," he muttered, brushing leaves from his fur. But then, a distant glimmer of twinkling lights caught his eye, sparking hope in his heart. Under the cloak of night, Finn cautiously navigated the shadowy forest path, each step a dance with unseen obstacles. Ethereal melodies and bursts of laughter floated on the breeze, drawing him toward the mysterious revelry ahead. Finally, Finn entered a clearing where a whimsical gathering unfolded. Lanterns cast a warm glow over festively dressed animals. A badger in a tiny hat raised an eyebrow at Finn's sudden appearance. The scene was alive with color. Squirrels in bow ties, rabbits with flower crowns, and a hedgehog in a miniature scarf. On a makeshift stage, a squirrel MC led the lively party. Nervously attempting to blend in, Finn accidentally sent a towering stack of cupcakes crashing to the ground. To his relief, the surrounding animals chuckled good-naturedly. As the moonlit sky watched over them, the dance floor came alive. Animals swayed and twirled, but Finn's enthusiastic yet awkward attempts resulted in a hilarious spectacle of tangled limbs. A wise old owl perched above observed the antics with amusement. At the refreshment table, Finn's attempt to maintain composure ended in a comical spill. Dripping berry juice, he received a napkin from a friendly rabbit. "Just be yourself," she said kindly. Clutching the napkin, Finn felt a flicker of determination. Under the starlit sky, the crackling bonfire painted the faces of the gathered animals with dancing shadows. Summoning courage, Finn recounted a tale of acorn gathering gone awry, confessing, "I ended up face first in a mud puddle." The animals erupted in laughter, sharing in his joy. Spurred by their encouragement, Finn confidently seized the dance floor, unleashing hilariously improvised moves. The other animals eagerly joined in, transforming the space into a haven of merriment. Later, the Squirrel MC welcomed everyone to the talent show. When it was Finn's turn, he panicked, but took a deep breath. In a chaotic burst, he attempted to juggle berries, but they flew everywhere, eliciting uproarious laughter. As dawn painted the sky in hues of gold. Finn bid farewell to his friends, his steps carrying a newfound lightness. Embracing his true self and the bonds of friendship forged under the stars, Finn stepped forward, ready for whatever adventures lay ahead.
So the snail lived in a vast garden that seemed as enormous as a universe. To the family who cared for it, it was just a modest patch of greenery behind their home. But to So, every leaf and flower loomed like giants. Carrots looked like submarines gliding through soil oceans, heads of lettuce towered like skyscrapers, lemons hung high in the sky, almost touching the sun. So was no ordinary snail. She had light brown skin speckled with black dots, and her shell was a masterpiece of swirling colors, light brown at the edges, deepening into black and rich orange. Her home was an old tree stump tucked away in the garden. Inside, she'd created a snug haven, a bed of soft leaves, a moss pillow, and an acorn cap serving as a table surrounded by pebbles for chairs. It was dark, damp, and cozy, the ideal environment for a snail. The garden was So's paradise, but it could be dangerous during the day when the sun blazed overhead. On hot afternoons, she stayed inside her stump, peeking out through tiny holes like windows. From there, she watched the family, a mother, father, and 2 children playing together. Sometimes, the kids kicked a soccer ball, the booming thuds echoing in So's ears. Though she admired their energy, she felt grateful for her quiet life. Rainy days were So's favorite. When clouds blanketed the sky and raindrops pattered gently, she could explore freely. Today was such a day. A steady drizzle had softened the earth, and So decided it was time for an adventure. She prepared a picnic breakfast, wrapping her food in a broad leaf and carrying it outside to enjoy on a smooth rock. Her first discovery was a cluster of daisies, their white petals forming delicate halos around golden centers. A bumblebee hovered nearby, collecting pollen. So listened, letting the bee's hum serve as music for her exploration. Next, she found towering sunflowers, resembling skyscrapers reaching high into the heavens. She marveled at their thick, fuzzy stems and imagined climbing one to gaze out over the garden. Finally, she stumbled upon a bush covered in budding red roses. Each bud was tightly wrapped, resembling upside-down raindrops perched atop dark green stems lined with sharp thorns. Though fascinated, So kept her distance, knowing the prickly defenses were not meant for curious snails. By now, hunger had crept back into So's thoughts. She headed toward the strawberry patch, spotting a plump, shiny red berry low to the ground. Satisfied but tired, she began the slow journey home. Slipping inside her stump, So sighed with relief. Her cozy nest awaited her warm, dry, and peaceful. She glanced out her window at the sprawling garden beyond, feeling both awed by its enormity and grateful for her tiny corner of it. And so the snail ended another delightful day in her own little universe, dreaming of future adventures among the wonders of her beloved garden.